All right, welcome to a brand new podcast. This one's called Lounge 11. My name is Femi, and I'm doing this with my brother Samco. Samco, welcome. Maybe I'll start by,
Thank you.
just introduce the podcast a little bit, why we started, and then we'll talk a little bit about ourselves, who we are and what we intend to do with this pod. Um, yeah, so Sabra and I, we've been part of a community called Banter. We host for the last 3 seasons a talk show, football related talk show on Clubhouse where we bring a lot of our friends together. We've made new friends, met a lot of really cool guys on there. It's like a you know um, town hall. Everyone comes in and just pops their shit, right?
Uh-huh.
And we really love that format. But we wanted to be able to bring, structured conversations, get deeper into the game, just kind of talk about things that are going on in the world of football and probably bring guests to kind of, share our opinions with. So that's why we're doing this. I'm an Arsenal fan, so it's important we disclose those biases. Samko, I know, is an Arsenal fan, but I'll let him introduce himself.
Yeah, the name is Samco. Some people call me Osama, but very well known as Samco. So just like you said, we've been part of a big community that has been growing year to year called like Banter. We do it on Clubhouse and stuff like that. So yeah, the aim of the podcast is just to, like you said, bring up a more structured discussion, have or invite other people onto the show and just talk football. Really, yes, sometimes the banter might be here and there, but the aim about this is just like you said, structured football discussion. So looking forward to it, and most exciting part about it is doing this with you. So let's go.
Yeah, man. Same, same. We're gonna have some fun, and those people that have been
Yeah.
looking for internal memo, they'll probably get to hear hear some stuff.
They get to hear
Yeah, some
some
of
of
the
those
internal
internal
memo,
memo discussions. Yeah.
man. But yeah, we shared earlier that we're both Arsenal fans. I think I've been all of my life, at least as far as I can remember, really getting into football, right? But what was your earliest moments or earliest memories of being an Arsenal fan?
For me, it just takes me back to my uncle, one of my dad's younger brothers. He was a big Arsenal fan growing up, and he was just one of those guys he wouldn't watch it on TV, but he'll have his radio next to him, listening to the games. And sometimes when he has the opportunity to go watch the games, like around the corner at the bars, he would always take me along. So that's literally how I got my love for football, and literally it was Arsenal was the only thing I had in front of me due to him, and so fell in love with the club. So yeah, that's literally how I got into the great club called Arsenal. Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, it was probably Kano Wanko. As a kid growing up in Nigeria, Kano was, I don't even know if it was the star of the team, but it was in our eyes like the star, right? And I think that's kind of where it started. And then I think Henri came after.
Mhm.
Henri's like my favorite player ever, right? And this young man came onto the team, a lot of arrogance. He carried himself like, the best thing since sliced bread, and I just loved it, right? And since then, that's kind of how I got stuck with this with this team, and I've been an Arsenal fan ever since. Do you have any like, what are your favorite memories as an Arsenal fan?
For me, there's just one that sticks out. Just like you said, Henry was your favorite player. It was the same for me. Like, it's hard for you to come by any Arsenal fan who doesn't love or idolize Henry. And for me, he's still the greatest footballer I've ever seen. And my best favorite memory is tied to him as well. When he returned back to Arsenal against Leeds, I think that was the FA Cup, if I'm correct. Yeah, it was the FA
Yeah,
Cup
yeah.
against Leeds when he came off the bench, number 12 shirt, the long sleeve jersey, and had that goal to win us the game. That's one moment that till tomorrow I'll just never forget it. I remember everything about that day, where I was, how I was watching the game. Best memory for me, for sure. How about you?
Yeah, I think the yeah, that was probably the one. just watching, I can even still picture the celebration. I think that's the most emotion that we've probably seen Henry express, at least that I can remember as an Arsenal fan. Like the pure joy, like you could see when he's like, he was like, it felt
You could
like one
see he
of
was
us.
a fan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It felt like one of us for sure, right? So that's probably the one that sticks out the most. Like, just you can just kind of feel the goosebumps even now, right? Special moment for sure, for sure. But yeah, um, maybe we'll jump into like some of the stuff going on. The season has started, season 25, 26. I think it's going to be one of the most exciting seasons that we've seen in a while, right? I think everyone's gotten tougher. The competition, in my mind, is probably at the toughest that we've seen. Lots of money. I think I saw a report today that the Premier League has spent basically outspent every other league combined, right? So, um, big news coming out of there, right? The biggest, obviously, is the one that at the time of this recording, Eze has just agreed to sign for Arsenal. Did you see that one coming?
For me, I'll say yes and no. Yes, more towards the beginning of the window. He wasn't one of those players I had on my wish list. I'm a big fan of Izzy for sure. If you've seen, I mean, we follow the Premier League every day, so you definitely know he's one of those special players that plays for Crystal Palace. It's everybody knows about his talents and what he's able to do. So, when the news started coming out talking about the possibilities of the interest of Arsenal and Izzy, at first I didn't really buy into it, but that was for my own personal reasons. Personal reasons in the sense of I didn't see him as a left winger because that was number one on my list for this summer in terms of players we needed to recruit, even ahead of the striker position. My number one person has always been Rodrigo. So when the news about Eze came out, I didn't really buy into it, but I again took some step back and just looked at it and said, he's a player that works for us, but he brings so many things different. Like he can, yes, play on the left, but he's not someone that hogs the line. He's someone who can play in the eight, he's someone who can play in the 10. So when I thought about that, I said, we actually don't have a player like that within the Arsenal squad. And I felt he was someone that was going to bring something totally different. He was going to be the kind of maverick player that I think we needed. Because if I go back to when we played Bayern Munich second leg at their stadium, I remember that was the first game we played, and I said we needed to address our left side of the attack. That game just proved everything to me, and since then, you could see how the entire fan base is. We all just keep complaining about the left side. So when the news started going on and on and on, I started buying into it and said, okay, I could see that deal actually really, really happening. And then we brought in Noni, brought in Eucharist, and it looked like it was going to be over.
Where's the money?
Exactly. Where's the money? But I still had the hope because if you remember, David Ornstein was one of those people that said Arsenal were interested in three attackers. Someone who was creative, a left winger, and a striker. So we brought in Noni. But the thing about Noni was right from the get go when we brought Noni, I always felt it was a backup for Saka. A lot of people felt differently, felt he was going to come off, play off the left, and stuff like that. So for me, I still had a little bit of hope. The first time I started having doubts was when you started hearing Spurs were getting really serious in terms
Right, right.
of bringing Eze into the club. And I always said to myself that definitely I know that if we were into the race, if we got into negotiations, if we spoke to Eze, we were definitely going to get him. But it just felt like that was never going to happen, and Spurs were going to take it. And then the news about Kai Havertz came in. It's funny when the news came in, I said to myself, I was like, that would be the best thing for you to do. Just go in, get Eze, because not just for the fact that most people can look at it and say, oh, we need a striker because Havertz might be injured long term. But I saw it for the fact that we still have Martinelli, we still have Trossard, who Mikel have used in that position sometimes. Sometimes,
Hmm.
or most times, I even prefer Martinelli when he plays in the middle because I've seen people like Odegaard have a much better contribution to the team when he has people who are able to run through the channels and stuff like that. So I said to myself, that would just be the perfect thing to do. Just go in, get Izzy, and now we have someone who's very creative on the left, someone who's creative in the middle and Odegaard, someone who's creative on the right in Saka. But at the same time, you have Izzy that we don't always have to play Zubimendi and Rice midfield. You can decide to play Rice in the six, Izzy on the eight, Odegaard on the 10, or Odegaard on the 8, Izzy on the 10. So again, all that flexibility that it brings to the squad made more sense for me.
Right.
But when you look at when you look at our last two windows, you can't trust us now. And I just said to myself that I don't think they will do it. I literally don't think they were going to do it. And out of nowhere, chaos, chaos,
Oh man,
chaos. I
it's
remember
been
I was
fun.
at work when I got the first notification from David saying we've approached Crystal Palace for easy.
Right.
Oh boy. And then we are taking them from those bombs down the road.
Best feeling, man.
made
The
it
best
even
feeling.
sweeter. Best thing.
Yeah.
But this brings me back to sometimes the kind of problems I have with Arsenal, right? I've always said Arsenal were a very reactionary club. And sometimes I wish we were more proactive. But
Mm.
then sometimes when you take a step back, you understand sometimes you have to be reactionary. And sometimes you have to, be proactive. Because if you look at the January window, we wanted a reaction based on the injuries that we had. And we got
Right.
absolutely nothing. And then
Right.
this time, let's say 9 a.m., you're hearing Harvest is injured. Like
Bro.
3, 4,
It
5
happens so
p.m., it
quickly.
happened so quickly. And it
Yeah.
was like, exactly like, this is how you should react to things like that. Like, luckily,
Right.
thank God we have 2 weeks still left in the window.
Right.
But when you build your squad like that and you have options, we saw what it did to us last season. So I'm just happy we're able to get such deal over the line. So
Right.
yeah.
No, that's yeah, that was a crazy one for sure. I was at work, right, and I was seeing like wait, Arsenal have done what? Like I thought this guy was going to was going to Spurs like and then before it's even lunchtime, the guy like it's moving like
Yeah,
one
it's
thing
moving. Yeah,
the heck is
it's
going on.
moving.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
mean, I'm very excited to have him on board. I actually, to be fair, didn't see it happening, right? Because you've seen Eze, or I call him Ebbs now,
Mm,
in his entire career, has played, as a 10 or as a creative midfielder, and the obvious gap in our team, or at least the area that needs the most improvement, looks like it's the left forward position. So in some ways it didn't seem likely, but then when Harvest went down, like you said, that was like the opportunity to kind of strengthen. I think you had talked about on Banta how we have raised the floor of the
mhm.
of the team, right? So
Yep.
we needed some game changers, and I think
Yep.
AZ definitely brings that to the table, right? So really, really excited, and like you said, we took him away from those bombs. So uh, that's always a win in my book. Like, man,
Oh
the
God,
WhatsApp group was going crazy, man. Like,
bro! I said,
48 hours of banter, man.
bro, I
Nothing
said, even
else.
this morning, I felt like, yo, like I was so high on their tears, man. I was so high on their tears.
I went back to read some of the comments, some of the chats. I'm like,
Oh,
wow, they
it
were
was
lucky.
beautiful.
Eh? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was beautiful to see. But I'm
yeah,
happy the club actually took those actions because
yeah.
where they find themselves now, they literally have to do things the right way. There's especially when you look at the fan base, I don't think there's a lot of patience across the fan
No,
base. So this
yeah,
literally is like their last chance for a lot of people. So
Right.
I'm glad they acted quickly. Let's say.
Right. Let's we'll double click on that for a bit, right? Because you and I have gotten slack for our predictions right now, right? Before the Eze signing, and actually I've not changed my mind, right?
Yeah.
But before the Eze signing, I think I had Arsenal as third this
Mhm.
year behind Liverpool and City, and you had a toss up
Mhm.
between, was it Arsenal and Chelsea
Arsenal
for
and
third and
Chelsea.
fourth?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I know why I've gone with my own, prediction, but maybe
Yeah.
you can shed some light because people think you're ducking the smoke, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think I'm ducking smoke, but this is one thing. Those that know me know I don't duck smoke. I mean, the last, 2 years, I've come out with my chest to predict Arsenal we're going to win the league. But then again,
Right,
you also have to be realistic, right? I never go into a season saying I'm not going to back my club to do something. Because I'm predicting something different doesn't mean I'm not backing my club to win, right? But when you look at the landscape of things, you also have to look at it in a much realistic manner, right? I chose Liverpool to be first because one, the champions are always a favorite, right? Now let's put that to the side. Even outside them being the favorites, look at what they've done in the market. They've literally brought
mm-hmm.
out one of the best, if not the best, number 10 available in world football right now in Vets. They brought in Kirkers. I'm a big fan of Kirkers. Like even before we heard news about Kirkers coming to Liverpool, I always said every time I watch Kirkers play, he was such a Liverpool player. So now you've brought him. Mind you, this is a guy that was a left back in the PFA team of the year, right? They wanted to bring in Frimpong, nice, dynamic, good attacking right back. They brought in Ekitike, another player that I rate. He's not the finished product, but he's definitely one of those strikers that I rate highly in
Right.
terms of strikers of his age, like Sesco's and all that. They are now looking at Isak. If you're calling top, let me not say top three. If you're calling top four to top five strikers right now, I don't think there's anybody in world of football that doesn't put Isak in that bracket. We've seen
Right.
what he's done in the league in the last 2, 3 seasons. Then you're adding him to the attacking components of Liverpool. So for me, there's nothing for you to like. It's hard for me to put anybody above all that. When they have the experience, they have, in my opinion, best goalkeeper, best centre back, best right winger in the world. Also in the Premier League era as well, right? So that's for Liverpool.
Right.
For City, I think a lot of people have underestimated or forgotten about City. And I think this is where recency bias comes in play when it comes to football. Everybody's always thinking about what just happened yesterday and they tend to forget about the whole big picture. When you look at Man City, they have, in my opinion, the best manager. When you go look back into his CV, he's never gone 2 seasons without winning the league. This is one of the few managers that, no matter what it is he asks for from his owners or the club that he works for, you hardly hear Pep doesn't get those players. He's brought in those players. Yes, he's lost the likes of KDB and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you have to look at it and say, when you have the best manager in the world, he's called the best manager in the world for a reason. So he definitely gives you some sort of advantage in whichever way you look at it. This guy came to the Premier League. I think he's been here, what, 9 years or 10? I think this is 10th year.
I don't even know, but it
I
feels
think
like
this
he's been
is
there
10th
too
year.
too long
Yeah.
for sure.
I think this is 10th year, and I think he's won the league 7 times. He's done four in a row, I think. Or is it 6 times? 6 or 7, because he's done four in a row. Then he won it before Klopp won it. Then I think he won it. Was it after Conte or just before Conte? One of
Let,
them.
let me.
That's 6 to 7 in 10 years. Like
Yeah,
six Premier Leagues.
6 Premier League titles.
That is out of 9 or 10
Joined
years.
the club in 2016. That's 9 years ago.
See, 9 years ago. So it's going to be 10 next year. So he has
Six and
six.
nine.
So he's
That is
lost to
crazy.
Conte, Klopp, and this guy, Slot.
That's slot. Hmm.
Yeah. So when you have that manager, you have the talented players, you know how he's able to make players better than they were before they even come to him.
Mm-hmm.
I can't put a team like Arsenal, which everyone has already labeled that they don't know how to get it over the line, right? Even me myself as a fan, I said we need more tools to be able to get it over the line. We
Right.
have gotten closer. We've been off by 5 points. We've been off by 2 points. And then last season, we went backwards. We're off by 10 points. So when you evaluate those two, three teams, how or where, what is the logical reason for me to put Arsenal over any of the two outside me just being a fan? There's no logical reason as far as I'm concerned, right? Then the one of bringing Chelsea into it, I feel Chelsea is going to have a good season, right? At the same time, we heard about, oh, they won the Conference League. It's all about winning trophies. They won the Club World Cup. They were able to dismantle the PSG team. Literally, none
Mm-hmm.
of us were able to dismantle in Europe, right? So when you look at that, you say, okay, I mean, if I have to give you the respect of being champions of the world, I'm not going to bring you're not going to come back to England and you want to start acting like Leo Bro all of a sudden, right? So for me, it was a toss up between Arsenal and Chelsea. So I put Chelsea third just because of how they ended their season, right? And at the same time, Arsenal was still trying to, there's a lot of changes now they're doing and everything. But mind you, it's not an excuse for Arsenal to not be up there. So that was why. But after the last game week, I was like, nah, I don't think Chelsea are definitely going to be able to finish third. Then we added easy. But also when it comes to Chelsea, I feel I want to see how consistent they would be in terms of the league and playing in Europe. Last season they were able to play their first 11 or their strongest 11 in the Premier League. And in the Conference League, it was a total new team. Some players you don't even see in the Premier League, right? And that's the difference in competition. So now you're going to have to play your Palmas, your Enzos, your Caicedo literally every 3 to 4 days. So I want to see how they do that. But for now, I say have it Liverpool, City, Arsenal, and then Chelsea. So that was my thoughts behind it, or my reason behind those predictions.
Yeah, I think
It's not smoke though.
mine. Yeah, mine was mine was similar for at least the top two, right? Liverpool and Man City. But I think one thing people are underestimating as well is the psychological effect of going to three consecutive long draining Premier League seasons and coming
Mhm.
short three times, right? Um, I think I wanted to see, or at least it'd be good to see. I obviously want my team to win, right? So that's neither here nor there. But I think that you have to now work twice as hard to kind of get over that, hump. That's what made me feel like, man, you're going against teams that know how to win, that know how to get it done, and you're making all of these changes. I don't know how it all comes together. Then you compound that with, you know, now you have to kind of like bring yourself up one more time to go through a long, grueling season, right? So that was where the Arsenal finishing third came from. Now we've strengthened since then, which improves our chances, right? So
Yeah.
we'll just have to wait and see how things pan out. But I like our team. Now I think there's a lot of depth in the squad. We wish Havertz all of the best in his
Right.
recovery. But yeah. Well,
There was
let's
there was something you said I was just gonna ask, right? Like you
okay,
said, 3 years of coming second. We all know the
right.
pressure that has been with that. Have you or do you ever feel or get that feeling of the message might become stale?
Yeah, I think to be fair, right, this season always felt like, you know what, I think Arteta is a great coach, right? It kind of demonstrated that in the time that he's been there, but unfortunately, he hasn't had the trophies to kind of back it up. And so part of his challenge this season would be how do you keep the message fresh, right?
Yeah.
How do you make sure that the voices are still following you, right? We've seen all the trolling online. He has tried everything, the speaker to replicate Anfield, the lights, whatever. But realistically, it always felt like this season just felt like, maybe it's new personnel, maybe it's some changes in the locker room. So yeah, I think there's always that challenge, right? Now with new players coming in, it kind of renews the energy a little bit, right? So I think they also try to do that, right?
Hmm.
Nani, Subimendi, obviously now Eze, Jokeres, those are key signings now that reinvigorate like the squad a little bit. Like even the existing players feel they look at what's going on. The team has gone and spent a fair bit of money, right, and brought in some key players. So that would make everybody kind of feel like, okay, let's get up and go one more time,
Yeah,
right? So I think that now plays in Arsenal's favor a little bit, right? Because you've added key pieces. The existing players have kind of seen that okay, club has made a real statement of intent. So we'll see.
exactly. Like for me, that was the angle I was coming from when I said I wasn't really excited about a window because I felt we had done more business in terms of like raising the floor of the team, and I wanted us
Right.
to raise the ceiling because when you raise the ceiling, like those players, there's an extra motivation. Takes me back to I don't know if you remember the video when we signed Gyökeres, the video that came out of Skelly when he was doing the whole Max thing, and you could see
Right.
the
Right.
excitement.
Right. Right. Right.
Like when I
Yeah.
saw that video, I was like, this is the kind of vim you give to your players to say, look,
Yeah.
we're not
Yeah.
giving up. We're going to do everything or whatever it takes
Yeah.
for us to give that push
Yeah.
again. So that's why I wanted players that when the other part of the squad come in and they see the Eucharist, now they're going to say someone like Easy. It's like, okay, yes, like all of us still have the same mindset, right? It's going to be a
Right.
different type of message. We're not going to be playing the same way we played last season or 2 seasons ago. It's going to be something different. I think a lot of people said Arsenal regress, which I understood where they were coming from. But then again, when I look back at it, I think last season was the first season we were not really able to see what Mikel actually wanted. And that was because of the personnel
Too many
changes,
injuries, man.
injuries,
Yeah.
and everything. Because if you look at Mikel's for the last 4 5 years, every season has been different. He's altered something, he's made adjustments. So that's something I'm actually looking forward to seeing this season. So yeah,
Yeah. I'm just looking. I'm going to enjoy this season very differently, man. Like I think
they will
I
hit
I
me.
have been the one to go out on a limb. I think I was the first one actually 3 years ago to say, "Oh, Arsenal coming second when we had just
Second.
finished, was it fifth or whatever, right?" Like,
Yeah.
so I've been really bullish the last 3 seasons. I'm bullish on the team, right? I want us to win. I'm not hiding that, right? But I actually genuinely think that we're going against this time around, the two toughest teams that we could find. Like in the previous seasons, it's like, oh, us and Man City, and
Man
us and Man
City, yeah.
City, then us and Liverpool. For the first time, we are really looking at like, man, it could be three guys, three horse
Hmm.
race, or even Chelsea four,
Yeah.
right? So that changes the way I kind of calibrate my expectations, right? But I think I'm looking forward to this season. It's going to be
No, I
fun.
am.
Like it's the
Yeah.
first
It's gonna
season
be a
I'm
good
going
season.
into without any massive expectations, right? So
Yeah. It's gonna be a good season. When you look at what other teams have done, Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, you could tell it's definitely gonna be a very competitive season as well. Yeah. So definitely looking forward to it. I know we're definitely going to dive into like other topics, but just before we leave Arsenal, there was one I wanted to ask you because I think me and you we have different opinions on this part, right? So I'm sure you definitely saw. I know you saw the video about Tony Adams, the one about the captaincy.
yeah,
How
yeah.
do yeah? What was your thoughts on that video?
I thought it was disappointing. Now, I
Okay.
think it's important that I put the right, qualifiers. I've been one of the people that have been most critical of Odegaard, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think I've been critical of his leadership as much as I've been critical of his
His
performances
performance.
on
Yeah.
the pitch, right? Like, I think if you ask him, he will be one of the first people to tell you that he could have been better the last season, right? The things you would expect of him on the pitch, goals and assists, I think is falling short. I think he has limitations in his game that can be highlighted, right, in the wrong set of circumstances for Arsenal. But having said that, I thought, like, man, to question his leadership was just it, to say, oh, I think you mentioned that Arsenal can't win a title with
Yeah,
someone like
as long as
Odegaard.
as long as he was captain. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of, you know, disingenuous, right? Because I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, in actual fact, we haven't won with him, but we've come as close as anybody could have come with,
Hmm.
Odegaard as captain. So I thought it was a bit unfair, right? Especially
Yeah.
coming from someone
From
in the
someone like
camp.
him.
But
Yeah.
we take it in the chin. I think Odegaard, all he has to do is go out there and prove them wrong this season. So fair play.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, fully understood. Like for me, I think he's definitely one of our greatest captains, right? And everyone definitely they're entitled to their opinion. I understood what he was saying, but I think for me, the way he went about it was what I did not agree with. Because I'm like, you have been in his shoes. You've been a captain of this club. You know what it takes. You know the pressure. That's the kind of thing you speak to the manager because I want to believe you have access to the manager, and most definitely you have access to the captain. But then again, for you to bring such statement and say you don't think Arsenal would win as long as he was captain, I just didn't understand. Yeah, I just didn't understand that part because in my head it's like what, like, okay, if you take the captain ban away from him and let's give it to Declan Rice, does it give him some special powers? Does it take away some special powers from this person and gives to the other person? I just didn't understand it. So that was the only part that was disappointing for me, especially for the fact it came from Tony Adams. But again, great captain, legend. So I guess he's entitled to his opinion. And I just feel like I think old school captains too are very different. Like for me, I don't give a damn about the captain anymore. Some people do care about the captaincy. I
I care
don't.
about captainship. Yeah.
Exactly. Like you've had your opinion, you said, and to me, I'm like, I really don't care about it. And two reasons why the whole captaincy thing with Odegaard. First thing for me, since William Gallas became captain, bruh, yeah, I just since he became captain, I just didn't see it as the same thing.
Gallas as captain was more of an indictment on Wenger, right? Like he didn't
Exactly.
appoint himself, right? So,
Yeah.
but I do think the captain has a key role in the team,
Hmm.
right? Strong leadership, especially when like Arsenal is a team when things are going great. Everybody, it's a system, right? Everybody
That's
buys
my
in. We know what's
point.
going to happen. But at some point you're going to face adversity, right?
Hmm.
And the reason why I place a lot of you know value on the captainship is because you want to look to the leader to when there's some games we've all seen them for those of us that have played in little league or
Hmm.
whatever we've been
Yeah.
you just don't have it right
Yeah.
or you just need to pick me up right and you need someone that can rally the troops right so that I do think that captainship definitely has a role to play especially around the margins for games like that so
Yeah. I think for me, I think they're different type of captains. That's how I see it. You have quiet captains, your people, captains that lead on the pitch, people who lead by the voice, something, right? And I think I'd rather have a team that has so many leaders than just having that one person where things hit the fan, everyone want to look back to that guy, right? It's like, for example, it's like, for example, when I see Gabriel on the pitch, I already know he's a leader. When I see Declan Rice on the pitch, I already know he's a leader. When we take out the captain band from Odegaard, have you noticed who he goes to a lot of the time? Goes to Saka.
yeah but I mean I think we're conflating a little bit right like
Yeah,
are there is there a need to have multiple personalities with leadership qualities on the team? Of course, that's
yeah.
more is better than none at all, right?
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, there has to be a leader, right?
Yeah,
And to your point about the different styles of leadership, I think what's more important, right? Which we're not, all of us are fans. We're on the outside. We don't really see what's going on in the locker
who's
room.
going inside?
As
Yeah,
long as long as he has not lost the voice of the team, as long as the team still feels like he is the best one to lead them forward and they are happy to follow along, then I
yeah. I'm
mean they're
fine with
gonna have
him.
to go and show the workings on the pitch, right? But I think that one is water under the bridge at this point. Tony Adams has his opinion, we have ours, and I think it's Odegaard is the captain of this team. I know I joke around internally, internal memo, and I say my captain is Rice, but it is clear that Odegaard is the captain. That's not going to change, and we
Yeah,
all have to accept that and move forward.
yeah. You're right. I agree.
Let's move on to like some of the other teams, right? Because we said we want to talk about football. We spent the first half hour or so talking
Yeah,
about Arsenal,
we
right?
have to
So
give our home team
yeah,
priority.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So we'll move around the league. Let's move around the league a little bit, right? Like
Yeah.
obviously, I think up until maybe this week, most people will say Liverpool, they've done the best business, or at least in my mind, they've done some of the best business. They broke the British transfer record for Flora Wirtz. They brought in Ekitike. To be fair, they would say that there's still, you know, spots to address. But I wanted to ask you, right? We spent a lot of time talking about Arsenal. Obviously, we've talked a little about Liverpool. But for some of the other teams, who do you think has done good business so far in the league?
In terms of the other teams, I wouldn't lie. I would say Manchester United. I would say they've done good business, not to the extent I expected them to, but if we're evaluating based on the business, no, because I still think they still lack. For example, that midfield, they need to bring someone into that midfield, right? But when you look at the business that has been done so far, I really like the business Manchester United have done because one of the things I told my few United friends was where you guys have found yourself finishing 15th last season, you have no Europe. Now your focus is to climb and get yourself back to one of those European sports. Go back and get players who know this league. If you think back to the time of Ferguson's, that was what Ferguson used to do. He took the best players from other teams within the league, especially for a manager like Ruben, who he's I rate him. I rate him as a manager, but I don't trust him. And the reason I don't trust him is because of the league that he finds himself. If it was in a different league, I would say I rate him and I trust him. But in the Premier League, I rate him, but I don't trust him. And the reason I don't trust him has to be with the main thing is his system of playing that back three. But then again, they've identified players that I think suits that particular system in Cunha and Mbuemo. And I'm sure you know I'm one of Sesko's biggest fans. I rate him so highly. And I think getting him into United is a plus in the situation where you have Cunha and Mbuemo who gave, I think their goal contribution was a little over 40 between two of them, which was more than what, yeah,
They were
which
top
is
10
more
in the
than what
league,
Manchester
yes.
United even had last season. So when you
Oof.
have those two guys behind a young upcoming striker like Sesko, I think he also relieves that pressure from Sesko of people expecting him to drop 20, 25, 30 goals, right? So in terms of their attack, I think they've addressed it very well because that was a big problem for them. Putting the ball at the back of the net was a big problem for them. But I felt the other part was them transitioning that ball from defense to midfield, midfield to attack. So that's why I still feel that midfield is still a problem for them because you're not playing Bruno up top behind the striker. You're playing him within the two. That's the 8 and the 6. And to me, Bruno is wasted there because I don't think he even has the legs in the first place. Then if you look at the players that they play around him, Gatti, Meno, to me, they don't have the legs either. Definitely Casemiro does not have those legs. So I think they need to bring in someone that helps Bruno in that midfield if he has to play that position because he's always going to play. He's their captain. So he's always going to be in the squad. So I think I've really, really liked the business they have done. Then who else? I think Maya is the one that really stands out. I mean, everyone likes that of Chelsea. Sorry, not Chelsea, that of Liverpool. Man City, I actually like the players Man City brought actually. Individually. Yeah, they did very, very good. Like Tijani. and Nori, Cherokee, all very like, and again, you're putting these guys with the best manager in the world. So why people write Man City off, I really do not know. They
I
say
don't
have
get it.
Haaland.
I don't get.
I literally don't like. I don't understand it. We've seen what this manager has done. It's like people forget or people think a lot of the players that Pep used at the beginning were world class players. No, when Pep bought these players, they were not world class players. Outside the likes of like the Haalands and then all them KDB, they're already there. But if you look at the other players that Pep brought into this City squad, I don't think there was anyone that you could regard as world class. And I think he's going to do the same with a lot of these players that he has now. So I'll say Man City for sure. Man U, Liverpool. I'm not hitting on Chelsea, but I'm just keeping it real, man. I've not been impressed. I've not been impressed with their business. I really haven't. So
They're in a
well,
very different business. They're in the private equity
exactly. They're in
business.
a very yeah, they have a very different type of way of doing footballing things. So I so I can't come out and I rate their squad, but based on what they achieved last season, top four, one conference league, won the club World Cup. I expected them to take that next level, right? Like you saw when they were looking for goalkeeper in Manyan, and that goalkeeper part was a thing that struck me, and I said, "Yeah, Chelsea are not changing their ways. They still want to keep bringing in the young players, do their flipping, whichever one hit exactly, whichever one stays." You see, they just signed it. What's his name? Enciso.
Who's that? I thought it was
That
for a
Enciso guy in
different.
Brighton that went
Yeah,
on
but I
loan
thought it was for a
to
different
Leeds.
one of the blue coal companies or
Yeah,
something
they're
like that.
sending him to
It's for
Strasbourg.
Chelsea.
Yeah, but we all know he's
Right.
coming back to Chelsea.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, Chelsea's they're a little bit confusing for me because I think their midfield is their best asset. Their defense could be better. Now that Cole is out, I don't rate their goalkeeper. I think they could have done better on their goalkeeper. Their attack is nice, but the only thing with the attack is we don't know who is who. I think Palmer is the only consistent, and maybe Pedro is the only one that will be consistent in that level. So because of that attack, I really don't know. Um,
Who do you think
Villa.
has not done good business?
That was why I was going to Villa.
Yeah.
Villa.
Villa. Okay.
Yeah, they haven't finishing what
Above Newcastle.
fifth or sixth. Newcastle have done better business than Villa. Yeah, because they brought Elanga. They even took this guy from Villa. They took, is it Ramsey? Yeah, they took Ramsey from Villa. And I know without a doubt they would get a striker, if not two. If they sell Isaac, I see them getting two. And a lot of people will write them off, yes, because they had Isaac. But one thing I will say is one thing I've noticed of his time in the league, Eddie Howe knows how to get the best out of strikers. So it will be interesting to see
Who would
what
you say
striker.
other than
Think
Isak?
about it. Oh no, even before Isaac, when he was in Beaumont, the time when what's his name? Wilson and what's the other guy were banging goals.
Solanke or what are you talking about?
No, was Solanke under him? No, Solanke was under Ariola. There was one other guy that was in Beaumont that time. Wilson and someone else. The King or some. There was another guy. Fraser. Fraser. Yeah, those were the two guys that were banging goals under him. So I think because I still think there are a lot of strikers out there that Newcastle can get to fill Isaac's role. They're not going to bang like Isaac, but I think eventually they would. So for me, bad business, Villa and Spurs.
Spurs.
Yeah, Spurs have not
What
done
did you
shit.
expect from Spurs?
Huh?
What did you expect from Spurs in terms of business to be done?
Oh my god. When it comes to
I
Spurs,
mean,
it's hard.
other than
It's
the
hard to
obvious
it's hard to take
easy.
off the banter when it comes to Spurs. But if I'm keeping it real, I didn't expect much from Spurs.
Yeah, because when you say they've had bad business, right? I'm like, what does good business look like for
Because
Spurs?
okay, good business for Spurs should be you just won the Europa League. You won it over Manchester United. You're now in the Champions League. Everybody always talks about the Champions League enables you to bring in good players, right? So I was looking forward to seeing the kind of players they were going
The
to
Brighton
bring in.
Kudus
The Brooding Kudos, good business, especially for the first one. So it's like, okay, what's next?
statement.
Exactly,
Yeah.
statement. But what is next? Let's not forget they lost Son. They lost Madison to injury, right? So with the Champions League football and everything, especially after the adrenaline of winning the Europa League, you have to push forward. If you want to be taken as a serious club that you're not, but you want people to see you in that manner, you have to push forward, right? And they just were not going to do it. I tell people, go back to the last time or the other time they went into the Champions League with Antonio Conte. Go look at the signings that they made. They brought in Perisic from Inter Milan, who was what? At what age? They brought him on a free. That was the same season I think they signed Richarlison from Everton. They signed, is it Fraser Foster from Southampton, the goalkeeper?
The goalkeeper. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like, with or without Champions League, those players that you signed that season, you would have still signed. Because you can't tell me Spurs cannot get Richarlison out of Everton. You can't tell me Perisic will not take the opportunity to play in the Premier League with a nice salary paycheck as of that time and that age. Taking Foster to come be your backup to Loris at that time on a free, I think, as well. There was no way he was not taking that opportunity. There was another guy they signed. I can't just remember who. So that was their last time they were really in the Champions League, and that was the market that they had. So bringing it down to this year, you're thinking, okay, just two leg forward this time, or two steps forward. Let's see, especially when you start with the kudos. Yes, they tried to get the Gibbs White, didn't happen. Eze didn't happen. They were talking about Savio from Man City, didn't happen. So now it's like it's not going to happen. Savio is not going to happen because the reason I don't think it's going to happen is because Daniel Levy is a very shrewd businessman, right? Man City know they need someone. But if you actually think about it, do they need Savio? Savio to me is even the wrong person. Because you have Johnson that can play on that side for you on the left. You have Richarlison that can play on that side as well. Kulisevsky could be coming back from injury to play on your right. You have Kudus. So where are you bringing Savio to play? Except you want to put Savio on the left. But you're still lacking your number 10, which I think they tried with Gibbs White and Eze and stuff like that. So to me, it's like they're still shying away from what they actually need, especially I mean, they brought in Paulina, which was kind of good business. But yeah, if I say I'm shocked, I'm lying, but I wouldn't say I didn't expect more from it.
All right.
How about you?
Let's. Yeah. I mean, I didn't really know too much about what Aston Villa had done. I think for me, Newcastle was probably my team that hadn't done enough. But then you called out all these players that they've signed, or at least a few players that they've signed. Those are quality signings, I guess, for
Hmm.
Liverpool, for Newcastle, right?
Yeah.
But I think for me, the reason I had Newcastle was if you look at their trajectory from when PIF or whatever they are called bought them,
But
it was always clear that they were trying to elevate the profile of this team to a solid team, right? If you
yeah.
remember, they were facing relegation, I think that
Yeah.
same season.
Hmm.
And when they brought in Eddie Howe, I think most people thought that he was probably going to lose his job. I think it was a season or two ago, whatever it was, that they'll bring in a
A much
proper
better one.
coach. Or, I mean,
Yeah.
with all due respect, I think he's actually done a great job. But maybe a bigger profile coach is what I meant to say. And all of those things point to you are trying to take this team from this North English team that is like, okay, you're there, but nobody really cares, to one of the powerhouses, right? They missed out narrowly on they're not in Champions League this season, right?
No, they are
They are. So
Newcastle. Yeah.
what are the four? What are the four teams or five? Oh, there's
So
16.
there's six teams because Spurs won Europa League. So the five
Right,
teams
right.
is Newcastle, Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool.
Correct. So they went in on the last. Yeah,
Last
I
day.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like clearly workload's about to get really crazy, right? I'm waiting for them to take that next step, right? You would think that they are trying to add to players like Isak, not lose players like Isak. And now we are seeing the drama player with Isak. Um, and they're probably in a position where they might not be able to sell that guy, or they won't want to sell that guy before the close of the window. Now you're losing 2, 3 games, of Isak services, right? And
Yeah.
you're not even sure the quality of players that are available because the striker sweepstake, a lot of the top teams have done their business early. United has gotten Sesko, Arsenal's got Gyökeres. Liverpool came in, you said no. They went and got Ekitike or whatever his name is, right?
Yeah.
They probably come back, who knows? But ultimately, like, I've not seen a step up kind of signing from Newcastle like you
Yeah.
would expect,
That you
right?
would
And that's
expect.
kind of why it seems kind of, interesting to watch what's going on there because that's the expectation we get. That they are the richest team, right? By
Yeah.
if you just factor in the owners and their deep pockets, obviously they are bound by PSR and the financial whatever considerations. But I've just not seen those moves that signal yes, we are really about to take that
I
next.
think they've tried, but if there's one thing I've noticed about this transfer window, you have to respect your position in the food chain. Yeah. I think they have tried, but a lot of those players they have gone for. If you remember the time when they signed people like Bruno Gomaresh, Tonali, all of that top teams were not in for those players. So they were able to get those things quicker. Most of the players they've been in for this season has been, yeah, they've been wanted by other people. Because I know they wanted Mbuemo, went to United. They wanted Trafford, went to City. Wanted Sesko, who went to City. Sorry, went to United. Wanted Eketike, went to Liverpool. Who else? Like, even just those four names, look at the clubs they went to.
Yeah,
They are
yeah.
not choosing Newcastle over them. So, yeah.
The Sesco one surprised me the most. And Umbremo surprised me as well. Like I thought like both of those players could have really strengthened Newcastle United, right?
Sesko especially.
Given
Actually, both. You're
yes,
right. Yeah, both. Yeah.
yeah, right. They don't have
They
a
don't have a
right
right
winger,
winger. They
so
don't have a striker. Yeah.
right. And so to lose both of those players to Manchester United, who do not have any European competitions this season, was really telling, right? Obviously,
Mhm.
Manchester United is Manchester United, right?
Yep.
But like you would have expected a real statement of intent bid there, and that didn't happen. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I don't really expect if they, depending on how things pan out with Isak, I actually don't expect much from Newcastle this season, like I did last season, right? I think the top four would look like the top four, like most of us kind of agree. At least that's what I
Mhm.
think. United is my sleeper team, depending on what version of Amorim we get this season,
Yeah.
right? And then you still have those guys that are there or thereabouts in the mix, right? Spurs people really believe that they should be there, so we'll see. Aston Villa, Emery can still pull a trick out of the hat every now and then to be disruptive.
And losing players, bro. They lost Ramsey.
Yeah,
They
but
lost Leon Bailey.
yeah, no, they did. But I mean, like the window is still open, so we'll see what happens, right? Oh, Nottingham Forest too. They did some really cool stuff.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah,
those guys
now
did
that I think
some
about
good
it,
business. I saw the Douglas Lewis
yeah,
today.
they just got Douglas
Um,
Luiz. That was big,
Tell me,
you know.
that's someone even Spurs would have done with, or even United actually.
Well, yeah, probably.
Yeah, would have done with the Douglas Lewis. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
I'm
sure.
actually really surprised that he ended up at Nottingham Forest, Douglas Luiz, because that guy has so much quality, right? Like,
So much, man.
um,
That
but
Juventus move was
yeah,
just. I mean, I understand where he was coming from,
yeah,
making that
that
move,
thing took
but
his career in a different
yeah,
direction,
it
you
took it
know.
a different. Because I'm not even gonna lie, I was gonna take him at Arsenal before we signed Jorginho.
Before we signed who?
Jorginho,
Oh, that you're talking about like 2 seasons ago.
yeah.
Yeah, of course, I think
Yeah.
the
Douglas
deal
Lewis was
was
one of those
there to
guys
be
I was
done.
gonna take.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, looks like we're coming to the end. We've covered quite a bit. We've talked about predictions. We've talked about. Is there anything else we missed?
No, I don't think so. We already touched
Yeah.
on. I think we touched on United already. So,
Yeah, we did. We did. So
um,
yeah, I think we covered it all. Maybe we'll end with some VAR. Early VAR. Did you see the one against Chelsea? The free kick.
yes,
Is it?
easy.
What do you
Yeah.
think about that?
Never in a million years would I have even guessed that was the reason they were going to give. And what makes it worse is them saying it's been a rule since 2019.
Yeah,
Like, what do
yeah.
you mean it's been a rule? So, if it's been a rule since 2019, why are we seeing it for the first time endorsed in the Premier League in 2025?
That's crazy, and it's happening every single game.
Every game,
Every single game.
every
Yeah,
single game. Yeah, that
yeah.
was ridiculous. I know that one was ridiculous. The one at the Liverpool's game, the
Which one
handball,
was Liverpool?
the one that the guy tapped the ball at the midway, at the half court, sorry, half field. What's his name? Sensei, the Bournemouth centre back.
Oh, I didn't even see that game.
Oh, there was one. The ball was bouncing back. You could see he literally like slapped the ball, and he was
Oh
the last
wow.
man. It was
Oh wow.
reviewed. Nothing. First game of
The
the season, by the way.
what about Everton? Everton leads
Everton
the penalty.
penalty. The
Yeah,
penalty, right? That was
yeah.
ridiculous.
That was crazy.
That was
That was
ri-
crazy.
that was ridiculous. But
Yeah,
again, we this is what the Premier League gifts us every season. So
yeah. Well, I have one more. We have to be objective, right? The
mhm.
United one against Arsenal, right? There were two calls there, or at least two. Right? I'm sure someone else is
What was
going
the
to bring
second
up
one?
more. The corner kick and the Cunha Saliba incident. What was your take on that?
Cunha Saliba, the one by the corner flag.
No, so Cunha.
Oh, the one in the box. Yeah, that one. I didn't see that one as a penalty. I know a lot of people saw it as a penalty. If they gave it as a penalty, it's one of those things I would understand. But I didn't see it as a penalty. The reason I said I didn't see it as a penalty was because when I watched the video again, you could see that Saliba was trying to put his leg where in the direction of where the ball was coming towards them, right? So if you notice in our group chat, I said his feet was planted, right? So at the same time, both of their feet were planted. Cunha was the one controlling the ball. And I think in a way, I don't want to say Cunha fell into him, but it was like backing into it because he's the one trying to receive the ball. And Saliba was trying to stretch the leg. So that's why I said for me, that was not a penalty. But if they gave it, I would not be shocked because I've seen a penalty called against Arsenal before when two guys went for the ball with their head and Saliba got called for the penalty. What was the other one?
The corner kick, right? Like people were saying Saliba pushed the hand of the goalkeeper or something like that.
Yeah, that one is not a foul. The reason why I would not agree as for a foul, even if people called it a foul, you remember Ramsey against Aston Villa at the Emirates, Douglas Lewis corner kick where they held him, and there was another one against Leicester. You remember what everybody said? The goalkeeper should be stronger. So the one with Bayern there, his right hand was the one that was moved up.
Right.
Which hand did he use to try to punch the ball? You remember?
I don't remember actually.
It was his left arm. It
No,
wasn't the
that
same arm. It wasn't the same arm. So it was this hand that he lifted up, but the ball came this way, and it was this hand he used to tap it towards the goal. That is one. In that same play, if you have time, go watch it. Do you remember Cunha holding Zubimendi like football tackle in that same corner? Okay, forget that one. Do you remember there was a corner that they had that
they
Raya
tried to do.
punched the ball? Go
Yeah,
watch that video and see what happened. The only difference was Raya was stronger, but there was a stronger. That was how I saw those
yeah,
two connect. Yeah.
yeah. I didn't feel anything about the corner. I thought it was just what we have seen week in week out, right?
Week in, week out. Yeah.
The Cunha penalty incident was the one that was worrying, right? To be
Hmm.
fair, if that was given, I don't think I would be sitting out here complaining, right?
Same thing.
Because
I won't complain.
we've seen crazy things happen,
Things
right?
happen. Yeah.
But yeah, 3 points in the bag still, and then we'll
That's
see
all
them
that
next
matters.
time.
That is literally all that mattered when it came to that game. Actually, before
Yeah,
we even just go through the games we have this week.
right. Okay, let's do
The
that real
first
quick.
game is tomorrow. Chelsea at
Um,
West Ham.
yeah, Chelsea should win that pretty easily. Actually, I don't trust anything Graham Potter at this point.
Yeah. You can't
Yeah,
trust that guy.
that part. Yeah, I can't trust that guy at all. I think the
Then
standout. Go ahead. Yeah, you have
Saturday
Liverpool. So
morning. Saturday morning. First
which one?
kickoff. Spurs at Etihad
That's this weekend.
this weekend. Saturday, first game.
That was a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. Spurs
I'll
are
take
going
a
to the Etihad.
3-3 draw. Some shit.
That
Three
is going
three
to be
win.
an interesting game
Yeah, that'll be good.
because
I
Spurs
actually,
usually beat
I think for other than that, I actually really rate Thomas Frank.
Thomas Frank.
Right, he seems like a big game kind of guy. He gets up for this kind of
His
games. He knows how
Brentford
to
got a couple
frustrate.
results against Pep too,
Yeah,
if you remember. Yeah,
he knows how to frustrate like quote unquote bigger teams. So it won't be an easy game for Man City for sure.
yeah.
Who
So
else we have?
so that will be the main game for Saturday. Arsenal play late.
Anything other than
Sunday.
3 points, the points in against Leeds.
Hmm. I don't know about you, but this game interests me for sure. Fulham and Manchester United. I want to
That's
see
gonna
this game.
that's gonna be a good game.
I want to
Yeah,
see this game
I don't think that's
because
gonna
this is
be
the
an
kind
easy
of
game
game I want to use to. Is not. This is the kind of game I want to use to judge them. Yeah.
to measure United. Yeah, yeah. I think they were very courageous, more than I would have expected against Arsenal, right? And I think also the way we're also trying to change things around might have played a
Hmm.
little bit into that, right? So they were on the front foot. We have to give them credit. I would like to see how they play when a team is willing to sit back and actually hit them on the break.
Hit
Like
them on the break.
that's how they are setting up, right? I want to
That
see
one, I
how
want to
well.
see it.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, I want to see that one. Then the game of the week or the weekend. I call this one the Isa Classico. Isa Classico. Bro, Monday, Newcastle against Liverpool at St. James Park. Bro,
God, you me, man. Oh my God.
yep.
That's St. James.
Monday, St. James Park.
Yo, that could be a banana slip game for Liverpool, right?
Mhm.
I know they're really good and all that, but Frimpong is out until international break. Did you
Yes.
see that?
Yeah, I saw that
And I think
surprisingly.
Frimpong actually, in a very weird way, influences the way they want to play this season, right?
Yes.
With that overlapping fullback, allowing, Salah is Salah, right? Inside, outside is going to be dangerous. but I think that's a big miss. Frimpong is a big miss, and
Apparently, even
St
Bradley
James
is
is
out.
never an easy place to go.
Bradley is even
Saint,
out.
who?
Bradley, the backup right back,
Oh,
I think is
oh,
injured too.
Gomez. You got your
So most likely it's gonna
bootstrapped
have to be Gomez or Endo. He had better not play Endo there because
against Border.
I think he did play Endo in their last game in right back.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, I think he did.
That's a spicy game to watch. I'm gonna be watching that one for
Yeah, that
sure.
game is
On Monday,
hard,
right? All right.
bro.
We'll
That
be
is
there.
gonna be a game. Yeah,
We're gonna be there.
that would definitely wrap it for the weekend. So at least with
Yeah,
that, to me, for each day has a big game. West Ham,
right.
Chelsea, City, Spurs, Fulham United, Newcastle,
Love to
Liverpool.
see it, man.
That would be a good weekend
Yeah.
for sure.
All right. Well, let's call it there. This has been fun doing this. We'll do it again next week.
Do it
We're
again.
still doing the Sunday banter
Sunday
thing.
banter,
So
yeah.
tuning in, we'll post the link. You're welcome to join. It's open to everybody. But yeah, we'll be back around the same time next week, and we'll talk on Sunday, my guy. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk Sunday.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great weekend, my guy.
All right, man. You too.
All right.
Cheers.
Peace.